Right then, welcome back to DR Sports with myself, AGT, on the 20th of January. Only 11 days remain for your club to get their transfer dealings done. Ins, outs, we've got you covered here on DR Sports. Make sure you like the video, get into the comments as well with your thoughts on what I'm about to say. And of course, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the Cop TV. I do apologize for the bed in the background. We are currently changing the sheets. I don't sleep like this all the time, just so you're aware before you get in the comments. Anyway, let's go to the only club really that is worth talking about in terms of transfers at the minute, or one of them. It's Chelsea. Now we know they want a new midfielder. I had Matisse on the channel yesterday on the Cop TV, and he was telling me how old Kovacic is now, how old Jorginho is, how old and injured Kante is as well. So there's a lot of space maybe next season for that Chelsea midfield to definitely rejuvenate. Just become a bit younger. And one of the players they are looking to bring in, as we know, is, of course, Moises Caicedo of Brighton. Very expensive, not really an issue for Chelsea unless he wants to move elsewhere. Liverpool would take him in a heartbeat, of course. But it looks like Frank Kessie of Barcelona is another option. He has struggled for minutes under Xavi at Barcelona. I mean, when he went there in the summer, there was a big deal made out of it, as there should be. But he was very much spoken about as if he was going to be that new Yaya Toure to come in at Barcelona and, really shine. But it hasn't really worked out for him so far at Barcelona. He's been left on the bench a fair few times as Busquets still plays ahead of him. He's about to sign a new contract at Barcelona as well. And then you look at Gavi, Pedri, very difficult for him to penetrate that midfield at the minute. But Chelsea are interested in him, and they are interested in a new defensive midfielder anyway. So you can imagine the Caicedos of the world, the Amrabats, pretty much everyone else looking at other targets. That's who Chelsea will be looking at, and Frank Kessie is no different. Newcastle, let's talk about them. They have also apparently targeted Chelsea trio Ziyech, Gallagher, and Ruben Loftus-Cheek. This is according to the Telegraph. And Anthony Gordon of Everton is also a target for the Mags, who are yet to make any moves really in the January transfer window. However, they are looking to strengthen, of course, with the second half of the season upon us, and they want to sign one or more, apparently, of Hakim Ziyech, Conor Gallagher, and Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Newcastle fans, how do you feel about this? Chelsea fans as well. I mean, Ziyech is starting most games at the minute until the new signings kind of bed in. But I think if they could get maybe a Conor Gallagher in midfield, maybe a Ziyech as well to complement Maxi. However, obviously, Miguel Almiron is absolutely smashing it for Newcastle right now. So he'd be hard to displace in that team. But depth, strength when it comes from the bench, this is what they're looking to improve on. So Newcastle fans, are you happy being linked today with Ziyech, Gallagher, and Loftus-Cheek as well? Also, Newcastle also apparently interested in signing Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Of course, we will get on to the Chris Wood departure in a minute. And Eddie Howe has said that during the negotiations for Chris Wood to leave, it was important that they brought in a replacement. Otherwise, it would leave them very short up top. So Calvert-Lewin, potentially £35 million deal, potentially going from Everton to Newcastle. And if you ask Everton fans, they're pretty much fed up with him in terms of the fact that he rarely manages to stay on the field for a full 90 minutes. He rarely manages to play over 20 to 25 games a season. Listen, there is a talent there. We've seen, I think it was in the lockdown season, I think he scored 16 goals in the Prem, which is his highest output so far in the Premier League. But is this the man that Newcastle should rely upon to be that backup striker to Callum Wilson? Let's not forget, he's injured a lot of the time as well. And you're potentially bringing in another injury-prone striker. The 25-year-old striker has struggled with injury, as we know, throughout his career, but is now being considered as a direct replacement for Chris Wood, who it looks like that's all signed, sealed, and delivered. Apparently, if you're to believe Sky Sports, they say that Chris Wood is set to be confirmed as a Nottingham Forest player today after completing a medical yesterday. But we're hearing he is unlikely to be registered in time to play against Bournemouth this weekend. That news was 9:15 this morning that we're hearing that he is confirmed to be a Forest player today. Newcastle fans, how do you look back on this spell that he's had with you for the last year? Let's not forget, it was almost a transfer window masterstroke to take him away from Burnley, who were at the time their relegation rivals. The turnaround has been so big for Newcastle. And Chris Wood, I think he's played 39 games, 5 goals, not the best return, but for 25 million, I guess you would have paid that just to stay up in the Premier League last year. And that's what they did. And Chris Wood, after scoring for Newcastle away at Southampton the other day, now looks and is set to become a Nottingham Forest player. I mean, I'm pretty sure this would be around the 27th or 28th player that Forest have brought in the last 6 to 8 months. So make of that what you will. Will he even start? They've got Brennan Johnson firing up top for them at the minute. They've obviously got Awoniyi as well. Is Chris Wood going to come to Forest and be happy to play as a third striker? Let us know in the comments what you think about that one. Also, hearing today from Sky Sports News as well that PSV winger Noni Madueke is in London and undergoing a medical today ahead of a £29 million switch to Chelsea. I mean, realistically, where are these players even going to play? Chelsea need 3 or 4 teams to even play all these guys that they've just signed, and that's another 30 million, which takes it well past the £500 million mark now that Todd Boehly has spent since he's been in charge at Chelsea. Now, Chelsea fans, are you happy with this? Do you know much about Madueke? Obviously causing big waves in PSV. But do you know what? If you're PSV, you've lost 2 of your best players really in the last month, with Cody Gakpo leaving, and now on the other wing, you've got Noni Madueke leaving as well to join Chelsea. Will he play? Will he get minutes? Will he start for Chelsea when you consider their attacking options? And when you consider Chelsea's attacking options that they have got at the club, we're talking about Pulisic. I mean, Lukaku's still on the books, but he's not there anymore, really. But you've got Aubameyang, who will never play for Chelsea again. I'm pretty sure in saying that. Sterling. Do you know what? I can't even keep up. They've got so many across that front line that it's ridiculous to even assume, really, that this guy is going to make a name for himself. I hope he does for his sake. But there's just too many to choose from now. And that's another £30 million spent by Chelsea on Madueke. Again, will he play? Let us know in the comments, Chelsea fans. Just back onto that Chris Wood deal, is expected to join Forest in the next few hours, as we know, as I've said. But there is a loan deal set to turn permanent for 20 million. Now, listen, Chris Wood, is he worth? I mean, he was 25 million last year, wasn't he? But is he worth 20 million? I'm not too sure. But listen, it's a good piece of business for Newcastle. And if it is 20 million, that permanent fee, then you are looking at only a £5 million loss from what they outlaid on him 12 months ago. And when you consider how important that was in terms of taking away a rival relegation candidate, their striker, you'd pay 5 mil to stay up in the Premier League, wouldn't you? So brilliant work there from Newcastle in that deal. Let's see what Tottenham are doing right now. They want Zaniolo on loan. Tottenham want to take Nicolo Zaniolo on loan with a deal that would become permanent if the London club qualify for the Champions League. We've seen Zaniolo at Roma. We've seen how good he can be. The 23-year-old can play as an attacking midfielder and a winger. Again, Tottenham need extra cover in those positions, and whilst regarded as extremely talented, has occasionally struggled with injuries, and he did get an ACL problem, or more than a problem. The ACL is probably one of the, if not the most difficult injury to come back from, and that kept him out for the full 2020-21 season. Paratici has always been a great admirer of Zaniolo. Tottenham proposed a loan with an obligation to buy, the obligation being if Spurs do qualify for the Champions League, then Roma were unwilling to accept this proposal. They want more guarantees, especially in the economic side. I mean, that's a bit of a low blow from Daniel Levy. He's saying, listen, we'll make him permanent if we qualify for the Champions League. He knows full well that Tottenham are a long way off qualifying for the Champions League. Going back to Brighton and Caicedo, we know that he's very highly rated by the top 6 in the Premier League, but De Zerbi has now admitted that he is fully unsure on his future. It's looking like around 60 million would make the deal happen, but De Zerbi was far from sure he would see out this transfer window with them. He said, I hope he finishes the season with us at Brighton, but it's always difficult to be certain. The best solution for him is that he finishes the season with us and for him, and in the summer it's better than if he changes team now. What do we make of that, Chelsea fans, Liverpool fans as well? How do you react to maybe Liverpool's #1 defensive midfield target looking to move on to Chelsea again, which just blows my mind, the amount of players that they're looking to get. If we go right up to the top of the table, Arsenal are said to be interested in Jadon Anthony, the 23-year-old winger who is now out of contract at Bournemouth in the summer. Let's not forget, Anthony started as a youth player at Arsenal. So could he return to London Colney and the Emirates very soon? Arsenal fans, what do you remember of him as a youth player for Arsenal? Do you want him back? Have you seen enough good things that he's done at Bournemouth to make that move happen again? Let us know in the comments. Going to Wolves now. Signing from last year, Gonzalo Guedes has struggled to make an impact at Molineux since arriving last summer, and with Pablo Sarabia arriving from PSG very shortly, he has now moved on to Benfica, and that is a loan deal. Guedes originally turned pro with Benfica in 2017. He went on to play for PSG before going to Wolves. Now he's back home. The tweet says, "Bem-vindo a casa, Gonzalo Guedes," which technically means welcome back home. And that's where he started, and that's where he ends up again now. Also, sticking on Wolves, there is talks now from Fabrizio Romano that expects the Atletico Madrid defender Felipe to be replaced by Leicester City's Canglar Soyuncu. So, as we know, Wolves, a lot of dealings with La Liga, a lot of dealings with Portugal, a lot of Portuguese players or Hispanic players that are coming into the club. Atletico Madrid and Wolves will be in contact again to close the Felipe deal in the next 24 to 48 hours. That was this morning. It's a crucial moment for the negotiation. No doubts on Atleti's next steps, though. They want Soyuncu in a deal to be anticipated in January after an agreement on a free move for June. So another name heading out of the Wanda, but also we did see yesterday that Memphis Depay is now an Atleti player for only 3 million. So lots of chops and changes in the capital of Spain. We're also hearing as well that it should be announced today that Leandro Trossard will be fully and formally an Arsenal player. They're looking to maybe get into the registration time quicker than normal. They're hoping that he can play some part in this weekend's massive game against Manchester United. We're also hearing just now in the last 10 minutes from Fabrizio again that Arsenal are closing in on a deal to sign Polish centre-back Jakub Kiwior from Spezia in Italy. Here we go soon. The fee is in excess of £20 million, and the medical test could take place this week. The deal is very advanced and all parties hope to get it sealed soon. This is just coming into us now, the Polish centre-back. And seeing a picture of him now, he's definitely over 6 foot. He looks as if he's maybe around 6'3", 6'4". I personally haven't heard of him, but Arsenal fans in the comments, does this excite you? Is this the kind of deal that will make Arsenal win the league and have a very good and positive second half to the season? Let us know in the comments right now. But there's your update. There's your update for transfers today on DR Sports with myself, AGT. Remember, like the video, comment with your thoughts around what we've spoken around today, and of course, subscribe if you haven't already. There's your update. Take care. More of the same tomorrow.